All right, it's 2 p.m. Central African time. Welcome to Market View. Today is the 2nd of May, 2024. Really thrilled to bring you the latest insights into the world of business as well as finance. Today, we discuss captivating news from the economic front. Dr. Philip Nisi, the governor of the central bank, made a groundbreaking announcement. The Central Bank of Eswatini is set to lead the Southern African Community Committee of the Central Bank Governors into Eswatini. It's going to be a very momentous occasion in regional economic collaboration. I will dissect the significance of this historic development with Central Bank Research Director Sikhumbuzo Dlamini. You do want to stay tuned as we delve into the crucial details as well as the implications of this monumental announcement. Our economist, Sanele Sibia, will then give us the latest in the financial markets later on the program to close today's show. Stay tuned for that too. For now, let's look at business news right after the break. All right, for our first story, we have a new SWASA Chief Executive Director. Our journalist, Nelsiwe Ndlangamandla, was deployed on the ground, and she came up with this story.
Great pleasure and excitement to have you all gathered here today to unveil the new Executive Director of Eswatini Standards Authority, Mr. Ngamiso Keith Mhlanga. Mr. Mhlanga is a values-driven, experienced and goal-oriented executive leader who has a remarkable track record spanning over 16 years. Throughout his career, Mr. Mhlanga has demonstrated exceptional expertise in various sectors, including water resource management, water supply and sanitation, agriculture and livelihoods, environment, biodiversity, climate change, adaptation, amongst others. He holds a master's degree in integrated water resource management from the University of Dar es Salaam, as well as a bachelor's degree in agriculture from the University of Eswatini. Mr. Mhlanga's professional journey has seen him work for various esteemed organizations such as eWaid, UNDP, WaterAid, and UNOPS, amongst others. As part of UNDP, he led a groundbreaking national climate change transboundary water and agricultural adaptation project funded by the Global Environment Facility as well as UNDP. His visionary perspective played a crucial role in mainstreaming climate change considerations into policy frameworks and strategies for the water and agricultural sector in the country. For the past few years, or rather for the previous 7 years, Mr. Mhlanga had served as the country director for an international organization called WaterAid, where he made significant contributions to increasing access to clean water for many eMaswati. His exceptional resource mobilization skills have resulted in the generation of over 200 million eMalangeni investment projects that have been successfully implemented across the country. He has also garnered extensive experience working with multilateral international organizations and donors, including the private sector. Since December of 2023, Mr. Mhlanga has been employed by UNOPS to support the Ministry of Tourism and Environment Affairs in coordinating and implementing the nationally determined contribution. And now we are really honored to welcome him to the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade as our new Executive Director for Eswatini Standards Authority.
The Executive Director has outlined some of his key objectives as he takes over the reins.
Having invested a quality time to understand the institution that I'm joining, I have summarized my priority not limited to the following. One, we wish to strengthen the human capital of SWASA, It is my best understanding that we cannot succeed and transform the institution with a disempowered and demotivated team. We will invest significantly, Honorable Minister, in creating a strong, united team that can deliver quality work in time. We will strengthen the capacity and build strong relationships and hold each other accountable through performance measurement systems. The welfare of staff will also be looked into all existing issues that are pertinent to their welfare will be addressed. Number two, we are going to also focus on the issue of developing a transformation strategy. We will invest significant time to develop a new strategic plan for the institution anchored on growth and financial self-sustainability. This is in full recognition that the current strategy of SWASA is ending in 2024, and there is a need to develop a new strategy that is anchored on self-sustainability.
The Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade says since its establishment in 2007 to date, SWASA has developed and gazetted over 250 national standards and has certified numerous entities, ensuring adherence to these standards. For Market View, Nelson Dlangamandla, Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Ezulwini.
Different legislations are being reviewed in an effort to empower Eswatini, especially in the business sector. Now, speaking during the strategic development brief meeting with legislative committees at Codec at Eswatini, the Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Honorable Manqoba Khumalo, said the enactment of new legislations and review of old ones will help in eradicating bottlenecks to businesses.
We must invest in our fundamentals and build up strong capabilities in our enterprises and our people. We would like to appeal for continued support. Gini timbonga ehloniphekile nakini bahlonishwa eParliament lokuthi siqhubeke nale misebenzi yokuthi siphasise imithetho letawusidalive. Mina ngimithetho lephasile kule minyaka lesihlanu lephelile yaka commerce uma ngibekisa ilakubak bo 7 or 8. Ndanyalo ke kunemithetho lembalwa lesitayithelisha masinyane weqala i-competition bill utawukhuluma ngayo CEO waka Competition Commission, lo munye ke i-National Trade Administration Bill ne-Investment Promotion Authority Act lesifuna kuyirevisa ne-Companies Bill lekhuluma ngekubhalisa kwamabhizinisi ngoba sifuna kwenta nake sithi one stop shop lokho ukuthi umuntu makafuna aqala ibhizinisi ayenza wonye akhanze onke lama services akuleyo ndlu leyo aphume aphethe i-license yakhe aphume aphethe i-registration certificate yakhe maka nenkinga ye-tax singathi hamba ka-RBS umkhanze RBS akhona lapho maka nenkinga na EEC singathi hamba ka-EEC simkhanze EEC yakhona lapho. This is something that we are working very hard on and will become a reality in the next 5 years with your support. Kunema regulations ke lesitawaletha masinyane endlini yasempunga naseParliament eku-implementa le Citizens Economic Empowerment Bill lese sisuke sikhuluma ngayo nakhona siyathemba sitawuthola leyo support leyo. Siyati ke bahlonishwa siyati ke timbonga lehloniphekile ukuthi you are concerned ngenzaba ye long term development of the country. Makhona indlela yakhulunywa kakhulu esibayeni kwaba ukuthi le live alikhiciti imisebenzi ngezinga lelifanele. We need a collective vision for the economy which will outline our ambition, provide direction and coordinate actions across all pillars of the economy.
Tsine uma ifika le mithetho ibeka indvuna eParliament sitavele sigijimise ngoma phela indvuna ikhulumile lokuthi kunesikalelo lebaniketwe sona ukuthi ufuna bakhe ama-factory shells lang 10 ngeminyaka. Siyayibona le agency lokuthi kufanele ukuthi siphuthume ukuze sivele silandzele lokwakhulunywa imbubo yemhlaba esibayeni sankweni nathi vele siredi ukuthi sibambisane nelitiko kuloto ndzaba temithetho.
That's it for our business news. Let's go for a net break. So we are with an exciting development through the economic sphere. Le Kuchoge, Central Bank of Eswatini. Sitawuvaka bandingayo after the break. Ujala masoda mahle kunathi lesa.
Sabatandi ukuthi njengalokhu
Sivile sive sitikhulumeni.
All right, welcome back. Exciting developments in the economic sphere. Dr. Eswatini, the central bank governor, has announced a groundbreaking initiative. Lapho khona kuthiwa umtsholi, the central bank of Eswatini, is poised to take the helm of the Southern African Community Committee of Central Bank Governors. It's going to mark a significant milestone in regional economic cooperation. Now, joining me on the program, just to delve into the importance of this historic event, is Sikhumbuzo Dlamini. He's the director of Central Bank Research. Welcome to the program, Kosi. Really happy to have you on the show. Nangifunza nje kabanti ngalo msebenzi lodako ngiyabona ukuthi live la ngwane nalo liyaticapha ngiyababona nebaka tourism ungathi batawuphakamise emehlo kuseta lo msebenzi lona, but engcenye nje ngisakuvusela ungasichazela kabanti about the main topics that will be discussed.
Good afternoon. As we have rightly indicated, I'm Sikhumbuzo Dlamini, Director of Research in the Central Bank of Eswatini. I'm here on authority by the governor to discuss the issues that you have pointed out. I think for us, as a central bank, we pride ourselves in having to host the governors from the region. We are talking about 16 central bank governors, including our governor. Normally, we also extend an invitation to Comoros, but they rarely join the discussions. When you look at the work plan for the CCBG, which is the Committee of Central Bank Governors in the region, they normally look at legal issues, macroeconomic issues as pertaining to regional integration, the financial market infrastructure issues. You will also have the stock exchanges represented. You also have legal, you also have banking supervision. It's more or less about discussing the work of the central banks and how we can then collaborate to better manage the central bank, the banking within the region as the 16 central banks.
Okay. Maybe before I move into the second question I had planned to ask you, from what you have just told me, all the issues that will be, that you will discuss, I want to find out from the issues that currently confront Eswatini, which ones do you see getting a lot of, direction or, let's say, help, so to speak, from this initiative?
When you're looking at some of the issues that are topical for the country, we're talking growth, we're talking inflation, we're talking issues around reserves. So the region has come up with macroeconomic convergence targets that we monitor. So part of the discussion next week will be around whether we are converging or diverging. We know we've discussed where inflation is, where reserves are, and some of the other growth imperatives. But I think next week is just setting the scene in terms of saying where can our ministers, because this is formulated through the Finance and Investment Protocol under the Minister for Finance.
Yeah.
So we are looking at the wing that is the contribution of central banks in the region.
Yeah.
So we are feeding into that.
Okay. I'm getting the sense that indeed you will discuss a lot of issues around ensuring financial stability in the region.
Yes.
But here's another thing that I know particularly Dr. Eswatini is passionate about, fintech. I know he's really, passionate about technologies, emerging technologies around this particular industry. Is that something that you will discuss?
Definitely, because within the African continental discussions, we also have what we call a fintech working group under the payments subcommittee within CCBG, which is spearheading conversations around the central bank digital currency. So you would find that for us at the current stage, we are looking at how we can fast track payments using a central bank digital currency, and also how then we can also foster growth of fintechs within the region in payments and any other sphere within the region, and also feeding into the wider continental conversations.
And I suppose that also feeds into, say, financial inclusion as well?
Yes, yes, because I think one of the key things when you look at some of the conversations is saying there are people who are unbanked, and there are products that fintechs can provide that can help us at least reach out to them. You have seen what Momo has done, Unayo and all those cell phone-based type of services, which we classify as fintech.
Yeah. I'm getting, from the first thing that you mentioned, about 16 countries coming into Eswatini. The importance of collaboration, I suppose, is my third question, because we have seen quite, the geopolitical issues happening around the world, and how at the crux of it all, what is missing is concerted efforts and collaboration, and I suppose that feeds into overall stability. How do you envision this meeting will foster collaboration and in turn stability?
The creation of the CCBG through a decision by the ministers when they enacted the Finance and Investment Protocol had at its core to try and support regional integration. So for us to integrate, we need to be converging on certain core targets, what we call MEC targets, such as inflation, growth, reserves, and the like. So there are things that you can't do as Eswatini alone. You need to collaborate with your partners in the region to try and ensure that you get the necessary mileage and when implementing some of these initiatives.
I want us to talk about something really interesting. Tomorrow is going to be World Press Freedom Day, and the theme around it is, around the climate crisis around the world. And we have heard, I don't know what to really call it, but I will go with the term that I've heard, at least on radio and as well as some of the workshops that you guys have. Climate finance. Is it something you're going to discuss? Climate finance as well as, the sustainable development goals around these issues. Is it something that you will discuss as well?
Climate finance, or what we can call green bonds or green finance, right. It has many terms. But the key thing that will be discussed is that we have recognized the need to ramp up finance for adaptation. We all recognize that it's getting hotter and it's getting colder, because the change is also on the other side. The areas that were normally very hot, some of them are hotter and also very, very cold.
Yeah.
You have seen what has been happening in Dubai over the past few weeks. It's something that has been unheard of.
Yep.
We will never thought that in Dubai, in a desert, you will have so much water or floods. So we need to be thinking as a region. We are prone to droughts. We are prone to significant shifts in terms of your earthquakes. They are more prone now. So we need to be able to have that conversation. There is a work program in the next 3 years that is looking at how we can better finance climate mitigation measures.
Okay. When is this event going to be, and how long are we expecting it to be?
We are hosting the meeting next week from the 7th to the 9th. It will start with the central bank senior officials, 7 and 8, and then on the 9th is the governor's meeting. And then on the 10th, as part of our celebration, we are hosting a symposium in the morning.
Central Bank Director of Research, Skhumbuzo Dlamini, thank you so much for joining us on the program, by the way.
Thank you.
This is the end of our segment. We have a few other things that we need to discuss with Mr. Sanele Sbia, which also, takes from what we just discussed. So you do want to stay tuned for that as well.
Thank you.
Renewal of TV licenses for 2024 is now open. Here is a quick reminder. A viewer's TV license costs 180 emalangeni per device. Other accessories such as decoders and set-top box cost 50 emalangeni per device. For traders and repairers, TV license costs 300 emalangeni per business area. And now, to pay your TV license, use these following methods. You can use MTN Mobile Money with the number 76222000 or dial *007 *3 *7 hash. Or you can use Eswatini Imali. And you can pay our TV license at any post office in the country. Another option is you can use any Nedbank branch using our TV license account number 119900430037. Don't forget, when paying for your viewers' TV license, reference with your PIN at all times. And when paying for a retailer TV license, reference with your TIN at all times. For more information, call us on 7802-4543 or 34050163 or 34020879. And you can send us a WhatsApp message on 762222000.
All right, welcome back, and let me welcome you with Mr. Sanele Sbia, our economist, who joins us now through a Zoom video link to discuss today's financial markets. Mr. Sbia, let's get straight into it. We have about 6 minutes and yet a lot of ground to cover. I want us to start by looking at the factors likely contributing to the increase in the price of gold by, is it $14.48 today?
Yes, Mr. Ngumalo, what we are seeing there is the price of Brent crude has actually gone up a bit. But what is quite interesting to note there is, though it is going up, it's not going up at a very fast pace. So one of the major contributing factors there is the instability in the Middle East. What we are seeing is, what Israel purports to do in Rafah, and the entire international community is standing there against Israel going into Rafah, because it's going to actually cause an entire slew of humanitarian crisis within that region. But what we are seeing is Israel is being adamant to continue there. But what we are seeing, the slow increase in the price, what is causing it to rise slowly. If you recall, in the past weeks, we were right there in the 90 region, which was a bit scary. But right now, we are around the 84 region, which is still quite, it's not that bad. So that's purely because in terms of the broader Middle East crisis, that one seems to have been averted for now. There is no talk of Israel going out into Tehran, and also there's just a slight movement around Syria, but it's not as pronounced as one would have hoped, as we were all dreading it was going to be. So we are seeing that bit of stability, but there is a continued onslaught on Gaza by Israel. This is what's now causing the panic in the oil markets.
Yeah, and can we apply the same geopolitical and economic events that you are pronouncing, influencing these trends on gold, apply the same to Brent crude oil?
Yes, in a way you could say, what we are seeing is gold is flattening out there, but with a marginal increase today. So that is partially due to that, that's the fact that we are seeing some semblance of normalcy coming back into the markets, more especially the commodities. But what one can then also say is, when you look at gold, you will see that yesterday the Federal Reserve Bank in the US, they held interest rates constant. So that means we are now in a higher for longer type of scenario when it comes to the interest rates. So markets are a bit jittery around that. So that's why we are seeing gold rebounding a bit, though remaining flat in that rebound. So that also has a bit of an impact to play, the interest rate saga and, the instability in the Middle East. So markets are pricing all of that in and really just watching how that now evolves into the coming months.
Okay, let's talk about the London Stock Exchange. How does the performance of the FTSE 100 up by 0.40% today, I believe, to 8,153.38 reflects the current economic landscape in the United Kingdom?
Yes, Mr. Ngumalo. What we are seeing there is, London is continuing to make records. When the whole world is showing mixed signals, London has been consistently breaking records. For the past 2 weeks, we've been talking of a story of London breaking the 8,000 mark. When you looked at the FTSE 100, it broke the 8,000 mark. Just now, it's around 8,140 or 150. So what we are seeing there is London continues to make gains, So what then we can attribute to, historical factors around the London Stock Exchange and being one of the most stable stock exchanges, with the interest rates higher for longer type of rhetoric that is now in the markets, that we are seeing in the markets, because markets had priced around 3 interest rate cuts when we started the year. If you remember, we were all expecting around 3 interest rate cuts. But right now, with inflation in the US staying higher, and what we are seeing is the Federal Reserve Bank, they're not willing to renege on keeping interest rates high until inflation has stabilized. So we are seeing those effects coming through from the US, and also when you look into Europe again, we spoke about Germany becoming a bit hotter just a few days ago, and you see that those we are seeing those ripple effects from that interest rate stagnation in the US also coming into the European markets. But what we are seeing with London is, London is a bit, is showing signs of improvements. Inflation that side is going a bit down, and the retailers that side are they're making bank. So that's why we are seeing the FTSE trading on the green when both the DAX and the CAC are basically on the red, showing signs of weakening.
Yeah, and what implications does the S&P 500's value have for the investor sentiment and market stability?
Yeah, what we are seeing there, Nomalo, is, the S&P 500 is one of the indices that we've been watching with very worrying eyes. It's just teetering around the 5,000 region. Really, we're just hoping that it doesn't go into the 4,000. So what that signals is, investor sentiments around where they expect the market to be and how they expect the top 500 companies in the United States to perform. So this now, the higher for longer interest rate saga that Powell in the US keeps on implying, even though it's not come out to say it explicitly, but it keeps on being implied. So that now says somehow it goes to weaken investor confidence a bit, and then we're hoping that earnings reports coming through just last week was going to actually just somehow improve the sentiments across Wall Street. But it seems Wall Street is a bit cooler right now because the markets are still very hot, showing signs of not going to improve very much. So that's a sign of waning consumer confidence, because even the Dow Jones Industrial Aggregate, just a couple of weeks ago, we were around the 38, 39 region, but now we are back on the 37 region, even though it shows signs of improving, but the improvement, the momentum, we seem to be losing momentum in Wall Street.
Yeah, and the Nasdaq Composite as well is on the green. I'm seeing on the graphic there. It looks like everything's going well in New York. But how do all these changes in the global markets affect how the Lilangeni trades with the major currencies today?
So what we are seeing there, the weaker sentiments coming in from these developed markets, now those are playing into somehow, strengthening the Lilangeni in the region. So the Lilangeni is performing relatively stronger across the Europe, across the board. So, we are seeing unprecedented performance where the Lilangeni is actually broken below the 20 mark against the euro. That's something we've not seen in a very long time. So we are beginning to see a much stronger currency across the board, both across the US dollar, the euro, and just weakening a bit against the Japanese yen. So all those are issues that have to do with the interest rates there. But, what's happening that's interesting on this side is if you see what's happening in South Africa, we haven't had load shedding for the past month. So that's why you see the Johannesburg Stock Exchange performing relatively well. So, we are seeing those gains, the currency gaining a bit of strength against, the poor global prospects, but, the domestic front showing a bit of strength, such that when you come back home, you can see that the Eswatini Stock Exchange Index has actually somehow showed some signs of improvements because, Nedbank has positive profits and, there's still Konyeni precast that is actually just improving. So we seem to be benefiting a bit from this myriad of uncertainty across the global north.
them, and you wrapped everything up, everything out quite well. Thank you so much for your time again today. We'll see you next week, unfortunately. But babugeli ba sabavele bangema devout viewers of this program, so they'll be sure to tune in again next week. We've come to the end of the program. Have a lovely evening. Goodbye.